What if I were to say I played Minecraft? Well, what if I were to say I played Minecraft Hardcore? Well, what if I were to say I played Minecraft Hardcore for 24 hours? Well, what if I were to say that I have a monkey hat on? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Minecraft Hardcore in 24 hours. To start off the journey, we need to formulate a world name. The name of the world you inhabit embodies the true world's persona. So I chose the name Big PP Energy as we were going to need it for hardcore. And I had certain plans for something later down the track. More on that later. And then so began hour one. We spawned into the world, that being a crappy island in the middle of Whoop Whoop. Luckily, the island we were on had a tree or two, so it's not the worst island ever. We headed over and crafted a wooden pickaxe to quickly acquire cobblestone to make all the tools we would need as soon as possible so we could set off with a decent head start and find some decent land. Because no offense to the ocean, probably a nice young chap, but it just sucks. Except for this underwater nether portal that I just so happened to find. You know what, ocean? You ain't too bad. We also found some underground ruins which contained some coal, but more importantly, a buried treasure map. So we had a new target to go to that wasn't land. Along the way, we found another underwater nether portal which contained a golden apple, which is me, but just like golden. Along our journey to find the treasure, we also found a village on an island right next to an ocean monument, which was an amazing sight. So we took a slight detour to the village to see what items we could get. Luckily, there was a blacksmith, so that's where we headed first. And, well, I'm not complaining. With our massive amount of luck, we crafted a diamond axe to advantage us combat-wise. And by the time the sun was setting, we found a bed and slept for the night. The next day, we set out to where the treasure was and started digging around the site. But eventually, we found the loot. No diamonds, but I think our diamond luck is running just a tad bit low, considering what Old Mate Village did for us. So we headed back to the village and prepared to set off into the open waters. And I wonder if I should kill that iron goblin. Probably not a good idea. So we set off onto the open waters and searched for somewhat decent land that we could call home. Along our search, we found a sunken ship which contained some pretty helpful loot. But alas, we continued our journey into the open water, which we then landed on a desert and savanna hybrid island with yet another broken nether portal. So of course, I had to do my duty as a loot-hungry troglodyte and steal everything that the portal had to offer. Along exploring this new island, we found a horse, which if you remember from the village, we also got a saddle and armor. And so we tamed the horse and named it Joyride for, reasons. We also decided to kill cows to get some sweet beef. Poor baby cow that witnessed its entire extended family's murder. We finally found a hill among the savanna biome, which I decided I want to build my house upon. While setting up our base, we went to the foot of the hill and placed a bunch of sugarcane so we could get a nice farm going for paper, which will be extremely helpful down the track. With all of our loot dumped on the top of the island, I decided I should go mining to help out a bit more on the resource side before we actually started building. So into the mines we go, but looking back on our previous luck with the diamonds, surely you'd have terrible luck, right? We had pretty god-awful luck, as we didn't even find a single diamond for the rest of the hour. So in the final 2 minutes, we headed back up to our mountaintop and went to sleep to finish off the hour. Hour 2 started with me using all the cobblestone that we obtained to create a bunch of stairs that we could create a stairway from the base of the mountain to the very top. And of course, I didn't want to be a clumsy little Minecrafter and slip off the 1 block wide, so we decided to make it a little bit thicker for these thighs. It may not be the most aesthetically looking pleasing thingamabob, but it does the job all right. Though we still had some stairs left for what we would use them on. Our thick ass wouldn't have any more use for the stairs up the mountain, so we headed to the mine shaft that we created and converted the way up and down into a nice stairway. We also had to do a fair bit of mining on the top block so we don't bonk our heads whilst trying to get up and down with efficiency. Whilst we were down in the mine, my monkey brain wanted to do more mining in the chance that we could find more diamonds. Luckily, about 5 minutes into the mining trip, our monkey brain was actually right for once because we got 2 whole diamonds. Now you're probably laughing like, oh dearest Elppa, 2 diamonds? That is the least amount I have ever seen. Well, yeah, but considering I got a whole 0 last mining trip, that's a 200% profit. Don't mind being mining, and that's basically all we did for the rest of the hour. So here's a little cheeky montage of us doing some mining. 3 and 4 are somewhat, combined together because I do believe it's time we actually made our house. Now, the funny thing is good old footage decided to corrupt for this process. So I'm going to do a great recreation of how it went in Microsoft Paint.
Alright, first we're gonna do one ball. Nice. Now we're doing another ball. Nice. And now here's the shaft, and there's my house.
Hey, welcome. Let me give you the tour. This lovely estate has 2 ballrooms for storing all loot, exactly what the real balls do. We sleep in the shaft, obviously, as this is where it's the comfiest or the most pleasurable. And the final touch being the back shaft window, which of course is quite a familiar shape. Whilst in this building process, we also took the liberty in flattening out the land that we had placed our structure upon, so future projects will be easily created. Speaking of future projects, all those broken nether portals and cows I killed, I decided to create an enchanting table. Though our only issue was we did not actually have enough bookshelves to create max enchantments. The only logical thing to do next is to create a wheat farm. Trust me, it will be worth it. This wheat farm will have 2 purposes. The first being food, and the second, well, the second will be explained in the next hour. So in hour 5, we set out to explore my island for only one thing: the cow. You see, the cows are not only a great source of leather, but
That's sweet, delectable meat.
unfortunately, there was only one cow. But what is funny to me is that one cow whose entire extended family was murdered, yet he still chooses to follow me. We led him up my mountain with 2 sheep, friends whom we also killed right in front of him, and led him into a hole where he will live out the rest of his life. I really hope none of my audience is vegan. So for the next cow, we had to travel off our island to another cow or our cow's mate. At least we're finding this cow a girlfriend. I'm pretty sure being a good wingman completely trumps mass genocide. And off we headed into the open ocean, where we finally found a cow and placed it on the back of our boat. Now coming back to our island, completely unknown to her brand new life that she will now have to endure. Then finally, when the sky turned night, we led old mate cow into a new home. And what better to solidify this by making her have a child? Because nothing says I have to stay here against my own free will like having a kid. So with our overworld basically pretty well kitted out, we decided to head to the nether. But before we did that, we needed slightly stronger items to help us survive. We used all those diamonds that we had tamed and crafted a full set of diamond armor and diamond pickaxe, then headed to that broken nether portal at the front of the island to mine the remaining obsidian, and then headed back to our house to build the nether portal. Upon entry to the nether, we were greeted with such a lovely lava stream. But we also brought all of our gold so we can trade it with all the locals and try and obtain any item that will give us an advantage. And items we did obtain. We only got 2 ender pearls, so I guess Dream wasn't really smiling down on me today. Though we did obtain a lot of fire resistance potions, which will increase our chance of survival in the nether by 10-fold. We also noticed the amount of leather that we obtained, which is exponentially large. So of course we had to complete our enchanting table and actually get some pieces of gear fully enchanted. Our first piece was my bow, which gave me flame 1, power 3, and unbreaking 3. Noticing we also had a few levels left, we enchanted our chest piece, which got unbreaking 3. With our new items acquired, we planned to head to the depths of the nether. Before we left, we made our cows do the devil's tango and headed off to where we truly belong. Around 100 blocks outside our nether portal, there was indeed a bastion. So of course, your boy had to loot this godlike structure. Posing what our piglin luck was, our luck with the bastion was absolutely fantastic, as this bastion was the highest tier of bastion we could possibly acquire. Though being the best variation, of course, it came with its challenge. These piglin brutes do so much damage in hardcore, but luckily I am one for being shameless and will hide in spots where they cannot attack or stab me. I'm just gonna sit here and shoot my bow in peace and thank you. With this structure, there's 2 sections divided by a bridge. The first section we broke into is what I'm calling the pit, and the second section, which I'm calling not a pit. We invaded not a pit and obtained, well, decent loot, but I know the pit contains way better loot to not a pit. The first chest that we acquired in the pit contained 1 piece of nether debris. It's being top of the pit, we're about to obtain exponentially better loot. So on the bridge above the main loot, there's also a magma cube spawner that we needed to take out, which was pretty easy. So we dropped down onto the piles of gold, which of course our pick broke halfway through mining these golden blocks. I wonder if these chests contain any iron. have iron, but Jesus Christ. It has a little more than iron. Okay, surely that chest is... Oh my God, Christ on a bike. Not only did we obtain 3 pieces of netherite bars, but we also got one of the sickest beats, Pip Step. Hey, yo, DJ, play that shit. With our pockets filled to the brim with god tier items, we headed home to finish off the hour. Hour 6, we started by re-evaluating what I had in my inventory. I noticed that we were level 30, so it was time for another level 30 enchant. This time we enchanted our pick in Home Armor. We received the cheeky Efficiency 4, Unbreaking, and Fortune 3 pickaxe. So, of course, we had to chuck a cheeky netherite bar on this puppy, make it even stronger. With our almost god tier pickaxe, we headed back into the mines to acquire some more loot that will benefit us later down the track. This journey was probably the most successful yet, as we obtained over 1 stack of diamonds. It's also getting plenty of other ores in the process. To top it all off, we did this in just under half an hour. So when we got home, we placed all of our newfound riches away. With another worldly task completed, we'd obviously gotten a few new XP points yet again. So it was time for some enchanting. And this time we enchanted our chest plate with protection 4, our boots which got protection 4 and unbreaking 3, and our pants which also got protection 4 and unbreaking 3, which we then used the netherite table thingamaboobity-boobity-boobity to craft our pants and boots into netherite, and worked a tiny bit on the farm and of course feeding our cows in what I am now naming the incest pit, or the step hole. I'll let you decide, comment section. We headed back into the nether again to explore the nearby nether fortress, which I'm gonna be quite honest with you, there was like no loot. If a diamond horse armor and maybe 3 diamonds, but we already have a stack of those. And then we headed back home. Finish off the hour, we chucked the diamond horse armor on Joyride and then used the bone meal from all the bones that we have accumulated over the hours to help out the farm and the step hole. Now, hour 7, we returned to the village from the very start with a few emeralds and an idea. Now, there's one enchant that we are indeed missing, and that enchant is called Mending. If you do not know, Mending uses XP to heal your broken items, so obviously this is an extremely strong enchantment, and we needed it. Now, the best way to get this enchantment is through villagers, most importantly, librarians. When you place an item called a lectern down, a normal villager will transform into a librarian, giving 2 trades, one of them which can be an enchanted book with a random enchantment. That could be Mending, but it can also be any other enchantment at any level. You can also re-roll the villager's trades by breaking the lectern and placing it down again. There's another issue before this whole element of randomness, that being that the village that we were going to only had 1 villager that was still alive. So we had to trap him inside in one of these houses and place down the lectern. No mending? Oh, let me try again. Oh. No mending. Oh, I'll get it soon, right? It took 30 whole, literal, exact, living minutes. But the real icing on top of the cake is we didn't actually have enough emeralds to trade for the book. So we needed to go find a new village to get some more emeralds to trade. So I then went home, managed to sort out the old inventory, got the cow porno again, and headed off into the ocean. Finally, the mainland. Then after about 10 to 20 minutes of exploring, we found a village in a deep roof forest. It's going to be perfect. Let me explain. Now there's a villager when you place down an item called a fletching table, you can trade sticks for emeralds. Now, I'm not going to say I basically destroyed an Amazon forest worth of a forest. Alright, and that's a stack of emerald blocks. In hour 9, we headed back home. Yes, this did take over an hour. No, I don't have a concept of time. Hello there, mending prisoner. A few emeralds for you. Ah, thanks for the mending books. Let's hope we never meet again. When we arrived home, we noticed that we had 47 XP levels, so we had to enchant a few items, just like our helmet. And, well, now we got a full Prot 4 set. We enchanted a few other items as well, but honestly, the only other noteworthy item was a sword, which had looting 2. 2 on it. So finally, after a few hours of actual pain, we placed the mending on our netherite armor and pickaxe, but we had a few netherite pieces left to collect, so we needed to obtain some more. Of course, before we started our journey, we had to feed the step hole and set off into the nether and began mining on Y level 15. I'm not sure if that's the most optimal mining level, and honestly, I don't really care, because mining netherrack with a god tier pickaxe is like cutting through butter. I did this for about 10 or so minutes. We got a total of 6 netherite ore thingamaboo. So we headed back home since we had 2 other pieces from the bastion that we looted earlier. Upon arriving home, we slapped the netherite onto the 2 remaining pieces of armor and ended the hour with having a full set of netherite armor. Now at 10, we headed inside the nether fortress yet again, as we had a full set of netherite armor, and I felt it was only necessary to finish off the nether chapter of our playthrough by beating the Wither. So the farm of the Wither skeletons begun. You know that one meme where the guy just goes, "So no head," and then just go, well, that's how I felt. Oh, hi, Wither skeleton. Oh, so no head? But after a while, 1, 2, 3. I cannot finish that sentence. The process of farming took around 30 to 40 minutes of farming. So after head numero 3, we headed back home to prepare for the grand fight. Also realized, oh, shoot, I don't have any soul sand. Back to the underworld we went. Not gonna lie, we actually struggled to find soul sand, but eventually we found some, and another bastion remnant, which contained a cheeky 2 pieces of ancient debris and 2 diamond shovels. We slowly but surely made our way back to the overworld. Fed the cows, which are starting to look a bit, well, let's just say I won't need to feed them to make a baby if they're already that close to each other. But right before the Wither fight, I felt it necessary that we needed to mine just 2 more pieces of ancient debris so we could make a full netherite sword. Hour 11, we started off our little tradition by breeding the cows, and then we set off deep underground to face the Wither. Do you think I'm gonna make an arena to verse this thing? Screw that noise. I'm going to whack him around and then take every hit whilst being underground.
Ain't nothing like a phone give me.
On arrival home from beating the Wither, we crafted a beacon, and from now on, this became our new task, to build a fully fledged, maxed out beacon. Block of choice, for now, was iron blocks. We had enough iron to get our way through to tier 2. So we had to mine lots more iron. So I think you should know where this little task is now going. We fed our little embreds again and set off to one of our biggest mining sprees ever. Our goal was simple: mine iron. So we did that the rest of the hour. Hour 12, we arrived home with almost 5 stacks of iron under our belt. We then began the smelting process. Whilst waiting for our iron to smelt, well, I'll let you guess what I did. This time we fell into the pit, putting me in this goddamn pinball machine. That was the only thing that happened here, right? Well, unfortunately not. When we opened up our inventory, there was just diamond horse armor inside. You see, these cows, these scum of the earth, killed my friend, Joyride. Was it an act of rebellion? Was it revenge? Any of those. I did nothing bad to these cows. Well, I guess we have to correctly bury my horse, and I hope he or she lives a happy life up in horsey heaven. With that sad moment out of the way, filled in our 3rd layer to our beacon. Now it was time to work on the 4th and final layer. Of course, we did not actually have enough for the final layer. So back to the mines we headed. Right before we go, we did our little tradition, you know, forgive and forget. Then I actually figured out the real reason how my horse died. There's actually that many cows in the pit that they're suffocating one another. So obviously our horse must have accidentally walked in and just died. So to solve this, I'm gonna deal with this a little later. They're to suffer through something for the murder of Joyride. Now back to mining, which yet again took a solid hour of swinning picky dicky, and our achievement was almost 9 whole stacks of iron. With all that smelting going on, we did a bit more of enchanting and tending to our crops. As this is going on, I might want to mention that we're actually in hour 13. So now we're officially halfway through the playthrough. I do want to mention that you might actually have a bit of curiosity to why we haven't killed the dragon yet. And that's because, well, he dwells in the end. So being kind of poetic, I wanted to save him for the end of the video. I mean, you don't go fight the dragon in the 3 quarters now, do you? After a solid day of waiting for the items to smelt, we decided to increase the cow habitat. They're kind of slightly getting a little cramped, and I think their punishment has gone on long enough. So yet again, my monkey brain kicked in, and we mined the wrong level of block. So I guess a few of them might have escaped, but trying to get them back in the hole made Monkey Brain 2 Electric Boogaloo kick in, because I could have easily led them in the hole with wheat. Instead, I was just like, come on, get in there. There we go. After that whole debacle, we finally finished the beacon and got it fully maxed out. The buff that we originally went with was jump boost, but my brain was just like, I'm gonna switch to speed instead. Now, in hour 14, I realized there was 2 structures that we still had yet to explore. That being the Ocean Monument and the Woodland Mansion. Obviously, our next task was very clear, and that was to go and explore the Ocean Monument. To do this, I would need to somehow breathe underwater. Now, there's a cheap way of doing this, and that's using doors, but I ain't no cheap bitch. So we had to craft some water breathing potions. We then created a new room in our shaft tower where we set up cauldrons and brewing stands. We honestly just needed 1 brewing stand. I just like the aesthetic. Now, to create water breathing potions, you'll need to get 1 pufferfish. To get that, well, you need to do some fishing. So we crafted a rod and headed to our nearest pond and fished for about 3 or so minutes. And then we finally got old mate Puffy. We slapped him in the brewing stand, but we're not done yet. We had to create a tier 2 water breathing potion. For that, you just need a simple piece of redstone. So we slapped that in there. Bob's your uncle. There's 3 potions of water breathing that each last 8 minutes. So we then fed them cows. So we headed off to the open waters and back to the village, which, if you remember, was right next to an ocean monument, and then drank the water breathing potion and headed inside. Let me be honest with you, ocean monument's bit of a D tier structure. Sure, there's a few golden blocks and sponges. Can I be kind of honest with you? It kind of sucks. We slapped around a few elder guardians on looted the structure and was like, I'ma head out. We returned home and just dumped everything in the chest we had available. And then we headed to the nether to finish off the hour to get a tad more netherite. And the reason for getting a tad more netherite will all be explained in hour 15. Now, in hour 15, I explained why we got a tad more netherite. It's so we can actually craft a netherite axe. And you might be thinking, oh, cause damage? We're not going to use an axe how God intended. Absolute baboon. We're going to mine down a lot of trees. Why mine down a lot of trees, I hear you ask? I'm going to a village. I think you could see where this is going. But this time, there is a brand new reason. So we fed our cows and headed back into the open ocean. Along the way, we actually killed a trident drowny boy and got old mate trident. So we'll enchant that later, which is what I would say if I was a smart boy. But then monkey brain kicked in. Little Yui back to the base to try and actually get the special enchant, which we did not. We tried to get that enchant for the rest of the hour, so we just wasted like 30 odd minutes plus. Hour 16, yeah, we just gave up on the enchantment and just said, screw it. We went to find our old village, except, well, we couldn't find our old village. Don't worry your pretty little faces, because we found a brand new village that we could rummage through. Now, what we were trying to get this time is a new villager called a cartographer. Now, for the reason for getting old mate is because he will eventually sell a map you can use to find a woodland mansion, since those structures themselves are actually really goddamn rare. We had to do numerous amounts of trades to get emeralds, then we could unlock more trades with the cartographer, and then we could finally unlock the map. And it went a little something like this. Hey, yeah, you want some sticks? You want some more? How about a little more? Of course, we got the stupid goddamn ocean monument map first, but eventually we unlocked the woodland mansion map. The only other thing we needed was a compass, which me being me did not have. So we had to take a bit of a pop down to old mate mine shop and mine up some redstone and iron to craft one. Then at the end of the hour, we finally got the map. Now for the entire hour of hour 17, we were running. Yes, you heard me correctly. We spent the entire hour 17 running towards the woodland mansion. I'm really regretting not having the elytra right now. I gotta save that for the end of the video. Also, I'm saving something else for the end of the video. That's my little secret for now. Actually, I did kind of lie when I did say we spent the entire hour running, because round about 50 minutes into the hour, we found an illager outpost and a village right next to it. Of course, we had to start a raid. Not only am I exploring a woodland mansion, I'm also doing a raid. The last 2 overworld activities that I have yet to achieve. 2 birds with 1 stone, baby. Though the special thing about about this raid is we did not have a bow. We had to do everything with melee range, which let's just say we had a few close calls, especially with this terrifying thingo. But thanks to our god tier armor and me running around like an absolute pussy, we survived the encounter and obtained many, and I do mean many, totems of undying, which just basically made us unkillable gods at this point. And so began hour 18, also known as the hour where I ran even more. Calling the mansion far would be an understatement, because this thing, this goddamn structure, I'm not kidding when I say this, it was light years away. We even found a goddamn mushroom biome along our journey. And finally, when the sky turned black, the rained down, and then parts of the map became clear. There it was. The Woodland Mansion. After over 40,000 blocks traveled, we finally made it, baby. Then hour 19 then began. Yes, the travel time was 2 hours. Thanks for asking. Now, was it worth traveling 2 hours? Short answer, no. Long answer, also no. This thing sucks. Sure, we got some totems of undying, but you can easily get them through a village raid, and you can actually set up a farm to automate the whole village raid system. Funnily enough, takes around 2 hours itself. The only thing that I would say would redeem this goddamn waste of space is Big Chicken. Well, I guess it kind of made it worth it. Wait, no, never mind. My footage corrupted. It did not make it worth it at all. Well, I hope you like the Mojang loading screen, because this goes on for an hour. Speaking of hour, time to begin our 2-hour journey back to our home. I'll see you when I am balding. Hour 21 is when we finally returned home. Now, we still have 3 hours left until I finally go to the end and beat the dragon. What could I possibly do in this time? Hey, have you ever looked at your Minecraft penis and wonder, that tip is lacking a full maxed out beacon, except instead of using your already pre-existing iron, you decide to use emeralds because funny. You don't normally have that thought? Well, monkey brain me certainly did, because that, my dear friends, is what we did for the remaining 3 hours. We then went to a nearby brand new village, might I add, and committed tree genocide yet again, with a side of destroying the inhabited houses. Why I would do this, you ask? Well, that was a great use of my time. Good job, me. Look at this massive cock. Now the time is hour 24, the final hour. Time for the end. We had to briefly kill a few Endermen to actually get the Eyes of Ender, and then we were off for one last time to find the stronghold, which would lead us to our final moments. So we traveled down, traversed the structure, and there it was, the portal room. We placed in every eye into the frame and entered the final battle for the 24 hours. And so, we finally beat the Ender Dragon to finish it all off. Though we did have a tiny bit of time left. And there was one thing that I said there was going to be a special secret at the end of the video. You know how we were breeding all of those cows all throughout the video? Well, I believe it's now time to set them free. Like these kind of videos, let me know in the comments. It means a lot. These videos take a lot of effort as well, and whilst you're still here, go follow my Instagram and Twitter description. Anyway, thank you so much for watching yet again, and have a great day.